How is the weather affecting the wheat market?
Well, wheat is a grain commodity, actually, not a soft commodity. But
A gray
yeah,
commodity, you said?
wheat, corn, soybeans, and wheat are grains, and cocoa, coffee, sugar. Those markets are actually soft commodities. So the wheat
Gotcha.
market exploded, obviously, in these Russian tensions and restriction of exports out of the Ukraine. But also, we have one of the worst droughts in 100 years in Canada. That does not usually happen with an El Nino. What's going on right now? The planet is just so warm, the warmest the oceans have been in 10,000 years. El Nino aside, we are seeing droughts over in China, the Midwest, the Canadian prairies, and this is affecting a lot of the grain markets right now.
So when you talk to farmers, how do you advise them? What questions are they asking you in terms of how they prepare for this?
So I have a newsletter called Weather Wealth, actually. It goes out to farmers and traders around the world on my website. And they're all asking, do I buy puts? Do I sell calls? How do I use the weather right now to take advantage of these near record high prices? Well, about a third to half the Corn Belt's in a drought. The other half of the Midwest is actually getting a lot of rain right now. So we're seeing a lot of volatility. And the way to do that, the way to hedge risk and to advise farmers is to sell calls and puts. That's called actually a strangle. It's very, very complicated. But for the most part, this drought in the Midwest, about half of it is actually easing. The other half is not. It makes it very, very volatile. With El Nino coming on over the course of the next 6 months, getting stronger, typically you see bear markets in grain. So as we go into the South American summer or winter, I would expect we could probably see lower grain prices. I'm telling most farmers to be hedging some of their crop at these higher prices right now.
So you have geopolitics, then you also have weather in the form of El Nino coming to the grain markets. But I want to talk about the extreme heat that we're seeing right now. And Jim, something I've been wondering is what's the first order effect on the commodities markets? Does that hit agriculture first, or is that more going to be expressed in the energy markets?
Well, we just saw natural gas prices finally break out, which we've been telling some clients here in my newsletter the last week or so. Phoenix, for example, they don't really consume a lot of natural gas down there, but they had 30 straight days over 100 degrees, and some of those 90s and 100 degrees are going into Texas, the Midwest, and it's beginning to sap into some of the supplies right now. So we could see natural gas prices rally another 15% if August is hot, which I think it will. The Northeast is going to have a cool spell in about 10 to 15 days. Otherwise, natural gas prices could explode. So natural gas rig counts are coming down right now. The charts look more positive, and this heat is beginning to take its toll, certainly on some of the production.
And Jim, maybe this is a silly question, but when we're talking about weather and all the different extremes, and then you mentioned, the cold snap coming to the Northeast, I'm looking forward to that. Are there any commodity markets that are sort of immune to these forces?
Well, right now, I would say, no, in the ag sector, almost everyone is somehow being affected by either El Nino or these record warm temperatures from, I believe, somewhat climate change. For example, along the equator right now, in the tropics, it's really wet in West Africa. This is supposed to be their dry season coming up. The warm oceans are producing heavy rain and disease issues, and cocoa prices are surging right now. Also, sugar. Thailand's the number 3 biggest producer of sugar in the world. They're having a drought. The only real areas I see that are benefiting right now from all this warm weather and also El Nino is India's monsoon that typically could actually have a lot of problems, and that would set markets like cotton and sugar soaring. Actually is going to get some rain. So from the soft commodity perspective right now, it's mostly cocoa and cotton in China and Texas and also West Africa. They're seeing the effects of both climate change and also El Nino, and I think we'll stay in bull markets, actually.
Okay, it's not going to be hot forever. At some point, the weather will turn, and as Katie looks ahead to that cold snap, how does this set us up for later on this year, for the end of the year, during the winter of the Northern Hemisphere?
We're overdue for a really cold winter, but 70% of all El Nino years typically have warmer than normal winters. So we may get a spike in natural gas here with incredible demand in the southern half, the 2/3 of the country the next few weeks, maybe go back to $3, $3.20. And then if we have a warm winter, we could go right back down into the $2 area again. So very volatile markets right now. The way to trade a lot of this with this extreme crazy weather is, again, really using options. I think I'm most bullish right now, probably cocoa, cotton crops are just dying, in Texas, or they're going to probably over the next month. It was 125 degrees in parts of China, never seen in several thousand years this week. Cotton crop's going to be hurt there too. So a lot of the soft commodities, I think, will get the most bullish impact of this, and possibly also canola in Canada and spring wheat, where the drought will continue to exacerbate here over the next few weeks.